We want to thank Shayna Rhodes, a teacher at the Broadway School, for that opening moment of music and allowing us to have some contemplation before we began. Good morning. I am Rabbi Shauna Nair from Suburban Temple Kolami, and it is my honor to be here with you this morning as we gather with Alan's family and we comfort them as they mourn his loss and celebrate his life. We remember Alan and join hearts together to give comfort and strength to his family. Mourning is a time filled with many emotions and memories, both bitter and sweet. We begin our service with the recitation of psalms and prayers and readings, thus linking Alan's life with the millennial-old tradition of the people of Israel and the eternity of God. It is a fearful thing to love what death can touch, a fearful thing to love, hope, dream, to be and oh to lose. A thing for fools this, and a holy thing to love. For your life has lived in me, your laugh once lifted me, your word was gift to me. To remember this brings a painful joy. 'Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing to love what death has touched. A poem by Chana Senish. There are stars up above, so far away, we only see their light, long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the star that lights up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. Our rabbis taught that there are 3 crowns: the crown of Torah, the crown of priesthood, and the crown of royalty. But they emphasized that the crown of a good name excels them all. The book of Ecclesiastes says, a good name is to be treasured above precious oil. Wealth, health, and even life passes away, but a good name lives forever. In this view, the Talmud teaches, monuments need not be erected for the righteous. Their deeds are their memorial. They will be remembered and revered for the kindnesses they have shown and for the love they have given. They are shining examples of what it is to be a mensch. There is a prayer that is part of every morning service that teaches us that there are certain mitzvot, good deeds, commandments that we can do without measure, as much as we want, whose reward too is without measure. One of those is comforting the bereaved, and part of that is eulogizing those we love with words of love. And so some of Alan's family is going to speak this morning, and we are going to begin with his son, Avery.
Hello. It's unclear why the surname Tucker was chosen by our ancestors when they immigrated to the U.S. from Ukraine in the mid-1800s. But what it has come to symbolize to me as we mourn the passing of my late father, Alan Burton Tucker, is the incredible care, consideration, and kindness he took to tuck in those around him. Yes, Dad, I opened with the most unfunny pun you could possibly imagine. And for that, he would sarcastically laugh. Ha 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 ha. My dad had an immense life force which enwrapped me and made me feel safe and supported from near and far. In all sincerity and with great sadness, this will be the one time in life that I have to put my father to bed. As a father, he gave decidedly sparse verbal instructions on how I should live. I only remember 2 directives he ever gave: be a gentleman and don't join the Hare Krishnas. Never explaining the latter, which I have no opinion on. When I sought advice on a big life choice, he would listen intently, but might say, "I can't tell you what to do," or "How should I know?" He did a supreme job of leading by example, showing kindness, joy, strength, intention, and consideration, to name just a few. Ultimately, I think he was keen on me and my brother developing and experiencing our own worlds, unvarnished by the experiences that informed his own, but possessing the tools to navigate our own worlds as gracious human beings. My dad loved and was proud of my brother Ethan for the hard work he put into pursuing his love of science and engineering and ideas, for having an adventurous side, and for his sense of humor and joy. I know this because we'd spend half of our frequent phone calls talking about you, Ethan. He loved and cared for my mother, his brother, his sister, his mother and father, his nieces and nephews, several close friends, and many people in the community dearly. If my father were able to critique my eulogy to him, he certainly would have. He never shied away from giving his opinions or receiving criticism from others, whether it was a drawing or writing or circumstance. Sadly, this piece will have to stand uncontested. Dad, thank you for conversing with me, for laughing with me, for your unfolding and creative light, for games of chess and playing catch. Egishegadre, ciao. Your memory will always be my blessing, and may it be a blessing here in Cleveland, in the Cleveland world and beyond. Thank you.
And now his son, Ethan.
I remember when my dad used to drive me to school in the mornings, just before we left the house. I'd jump in the car and he'd ask me, "Did you forget to remember everything?" I'll remember many things about him, but even for those things now and then forgotten, I know I'll find reminders in the many wonderful things he made and surrounded himself with, and in the people that knew him and loved him, many of who are here. Thank you all for coming to remember him and celebrate him. I'll remember his hands thick and tough from his many woodworking, painting, and restoration projects he always had going on, and from his delivery business, bringing people newspapers, food, and medicine for over 50 years. I'll remember when hearing a particularly clever pun, his self-bestowed title as the Great Pontificator, and his unique and wonderful laugh when he heard a particularly good or exceedingly bizarre play on words. I'll remember his creative spirit through his art that I see in my home and others, and from the many memories of unique and extravagant dishes he cooked. I'll remember him as a great father who taught me patience, kindness, work ethic, and so much else. And as a friend who listened, helped, joked, and laughed. And if I ever forget to remember everything that he brought to the world, I just have to look around to his many creations and to everyone who loved him. Thank you.
And now his brother, David.
will say, when the heart breaks, the beauty of these two beautiful beings shines so brightly in our great reflection of Alan's essence. Just take a moment and see all of you, and see if I can hold it together. Just thank you for coming to rejoice in Alan's life. It's not separate from ours. To weave our broken hearts together and grieve the loss of our beautiful Alan. Sorry. So thank you for being here. The mind is an interesting not thing. How can it be that my brother's not here? My mind says. It's inconceivable. The familiar grooves and patterns of the mind is like he's just going to be here at any moment with a bag of bagels. Where is he? But he is here. And how can it be just so odd that I can hold so much pain and so much joy at the same time? How is that possible? How is it possible that such pure love is sewing us all together can have that thread of pain that connects us all? The mind can't conceive of it, but the heart knows. The heart is infinite and holds everything, holds every feeling, holds every being together as one. So, when I take a deep breath and relax for a minute and feel that atmosphere of gentleness, calm, and sweet lightheartedness of my brother that would just seem to dance kind of a delicate, strange dance that reminds me of his technique of bowling. I don't know who has seen him bowl, but he has a very unique style. Just like a man strung as an ox, dancing like the most delicate little, I don't know, dance with a little flair at the end. A bowling ballet, uniquely his own, and his life was a bowling ballet. So I also remember with great fondness Alan's quiet, understated insanity of Jewish humor that lurked in both of our minds. A humor joyously ready to spring out at the most opportune or even better, unexpected moment. Especially good if the bad pun, loving insult, sprung out just in the middle of a sip of coffee or something. Would be best. So, what's amazing to me is that Alan had a rock-solid, kind of immovable, uncontrived sense of ethics. It just wasn't anything he made an effort. It was just present in him. I don't know how to describe that exactly. And there was just absolutely no room for pretentiousness in his sphere, which I had a lot of. So you just had to settle into authentic. And he was 100% authentic. And in his kindness of helping new immigrants from Ukraine and Russia, offering them friendship and work, and help them ease into the USA Cleveland culture. And he tirelessly helped my mom and Alicia, unhesitatingly. So, feeling the finality of this moment, I see Alan's life, and all of our lives really, like a beautiful, almost kaleidoscopic tapestry projected on this canvas of ephemeral yet never-changing sky. It's so ephemeral. And this projection on this canvas is so beautiful and so timeless. So, in the time that our hearts are so open and so broken, I hope that his qualities are awakened to see the beautiful artistry of life, the preciousness. So, I was thinking the other day, and I had a vision of Alan. Just, he was like in this brilliant sky on this road with his Italian man bag over his shoulder, waving to me the Italian way. And he said, "Ciao for now." So, fly free, my sweet brother. Fly free into the eternal light of essence love. Fly free. Sorry.
When I met with Alan's family yesterday, I said, as our time concluded, that I really wished I had gotten to meet Alan. Feelings that are only intensified after hearing their beautiful words. I am somebody who loves to tell stories, and in hearing about Alan, one of my favorites came to mind. It's called A True Artist, and it is about a king who has recently redecorated his entire palace, and he has left no detail unturned in every room, the best materials, everything. And he has decorated every nook and cranny of this palace except for one long hallway that sort of leads to the rest of the palace. And he has decided for this long hallway that he is going to find the two best artists in the kingdom and give each one of them a wall to decorate. And in order to find these two best artists, he has a contest, and he whittles it down, and he finally figures out who the two best artists are in the kingdom. And he tells one, "You have the wall on the right. It is yours. You have access to all of the best materials on me. Any apprentices you want, it is yours." And says the same thing to the other artist, except that he has the wall on the left. And you have a year to complete this task. In a year, I will come back and I will judge which wall is the best, and whoever wins gets a reward. So the artist who has the wall on the right gets immediately so excited, can't control his enthusiasm, and sits down, starts sketching, figuring out what materials he's going to use, the design, everything. And the artist with the wall on the left just sits. Nothing. Stares at the wall, nothing. And this goes on for the entire year. As the design goes up on the wall, as materials are procured, as the best apprentices are gotten for the artist with the wall on the right, and everything is happening, the artist with the wall on the left just sits there. And now it is time. It is like the night before the king is going to come in and judge what is happening. And there is still nothing on the wall on the left. And all the artist on the wall on the right has to do is sign his work along with the apprentices. And that's what happens, and they leave and they go celebrate because they have truly created a masterpiece. Every detail has been thought through, the best materials have been used, and it is gorgeous. And the next day, the king and some of his advisors come in to judge the work, and the two artists have been left in an antechamber, and the king walks in and sees two walls that look exactly the same. Exactly. Down to every last detail. And first he goes to the wall on the right and he feels it and he can tell that the best materials have been used, and he sees all the hard work and the detail, and it is gorgeous. And then he walks over to the wall on the left and he feels, and it is cold and it is smooth. And he knows immediately what's happened. The artist on the left has done nothing but hang mirrors, wall to ceiling, end to end. And so he brings the two artists in. And now the artist who created the wall on the right is plenty angry. And the artist with the wall on the left says, well, who won? And the king says, well, it's clearly a tie. You created the exact same art. How am I supposed to judge? And now the artist with the wall on the right is really angry. And the king says, come back tomorrow. He says, but you can see what he did. He's come back tomorrow and you'll get the rewards you both deserve. And they both come back tomorrow because there's no arguing with the king. And in the middle of the room is like the largest pile of gold anybody has ever seen. And he speaks to the artist who created the wall on the right first and says, this all is yours. You have clearly put everything you have into your work, and I never want you to have a money worry again. And I want you to keep creating art, and I want you to teach others how to do the same. And the artist from the wall on the left says, but wait, you said it was a tie. Where is my reward? He says, yes, and I said you would both get the reward that you deserve. See that pile of gold there? And he points to the reflection of the pile of gold in the mirror. He says, that one belongs to you. Shortly before he died, the great philosopher and activist, Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, gave an interview. And at the end, the reporter asked him if he had a message for young people. Heschel replied, he wanted young people to realize that life is a work of art. We decide its colors, its textures, its design. Therefore, it is up to every one of us to make our life a masterpiece. Unfortunately, too many people give up their chance to create art and instead put up mirrors. They reflect what others expect, what others value, and what others want. They miss the chance to earn the true rewards of life. Alan Tucker came from a family of artists, was a true artist himself, and created a masterpiece with his life. There was, of course, his actual art, whether drawings, digital work, or large murals and installations. Alan loved the idea of people stepping into his world through his creations. And Alan brought his artistic sensibilities to all that he did. The sensibilities were inherited from his grandparents and parents and further nurtured when he traveled to Rome in his last year of college. Their culture truly became a part of him, and for the rest of his life, he expressed gratitude with a grazie and wished you well with a ciao. These expressions connected Alan to the place whose art and culture spoke to him so deeply. Alan loved to cook, especially recently, and making a meal could take hours because of his attention to detail. From hand chopping those nuts to making large meals with love, each was a masterpiece. He had a wicked sense of humor, loved a good pun, and saw the art in language. This is likely what made him such a competitive Scrabble player. And additionally, when he spoke, he used words thoughtfully, hand-picking each one before saying it aloud. He loved to listen to books as he made his deliveries, especially sci-fi and fantasy, because of the worlds they created. And more than that, he loved creating his own worlds through stories, whether it was Alan Jubilee as a kid for his siblings, or the continuation of Middle-earth adventures when he finished the Lord of the Rings series with his kids. He took great pleasure in artfully bringing characters and stories to life. And if that weren't enough, as David told us, Alan was even artistic when it came to bowling. He had a graceful, almost balletic form as he launched that ball down the alley. Alan's life was indeed a masterpiece, and it was painted on a canvas of kindness. He was a wonderful son, brother, husband, father, and uncle. He was an incredibly hard worker in the delivery business he created, and a beloved delivery man whose customers adored him and wrote touching notes with generous tips on his final day. Despite any struggles he endured, he was joyful and had an innate sense of the right thing to do, which he did with little or no complaint. As long as his coffee order was correct, Alan was a soft-spoken, gentle giant with not an ounce of pretension, and anyone who loved him or was loved by him was welcomed into the world of kindness he created with the masterpiece that was his life. In the Reformed prayer book, Gates of Prayer, we read the following: "We all harbor within us a vision of our highest selves, a dream of what we could and should become. May we pursue this vision, labor to make real our dreams. Thus will we give meaning to our lives. An artist in the course of a painting will pause, lay aside the brush, step back from the canvas, and consider what needs to be done, what direction is to be taken. So does each of us pause to reflect as we hope to make our lives a work of art. Help us to turn back to the canvas of life to paint a portrait of our highest selves." Alan's life was a beautiful canvas, and he earned the true rewards of life. May we each honor his memory by making our lives a masterpiece and thus earn those rewards ourselves. It's now my honor to call back Shana Rhodes. Birth is a beginning, and death a destination, and life is a journey. From childhood to maturity, and youth to age, from innocence to awareness, and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion, and perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength, or strength to weakness, and often back again. From health to sickness, and back we pray to health again. From offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, from grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not in some high place along the way, but in having made the journey stage by stage. A sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning, and death a destination, and life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage to life everlasting. We continue with the 23rd Psalm. Please join me if you know it. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. There are two memorial prayers in Judaism. The first is El Malei Rachamim, which we will listen to chanted first. We were almost there. It's okay. I ask you to rise for the recitation of El Malay. El Malay Rachamim, Shochim Bamramin, Hamsei Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanfei Shechina, Im Kedoshim Utorim, Kezor Harakia Mazirim, Et Nishmat Baruch Ben Tzvi, Shahalach Lolamo, Ba'al Harachamim Yistarehu B'Seter Kanafab Lolamim, Vayitzor Bitzor HaChayim, Et Nishmato, Adonai Hu Nachalato, V'yanuach Bashalom Al Mishkavo, V'nomar, Amen. Fully compassionate God on high, to our loved one who has entered eternity, grant him clear and certain rest with you in the lofty heights of the sacred and pure, whose brightness shines like the very glow of heaven. Source of mercy, forever enfold him in the embrace of your wings. Secure his soul in eternity. Adonai, he is yours. May he rest in peace, as together we say, Amen. And as we continue with the Mourner's Kaddish, it is my honor to call upon Alan's brother David and his friend Alan Mintz to lead us in the prayer.
Yiskadal, Yiskadash, Shemei Rabbah, V'yalma Divra, Kirusei, V'yanlik Malchusei, V'chayechon, V'yomechon, V'chaye, V'chol, Beis Yisrael, V'agala, V'zman Kari, V'yimaru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah, Mivorach, Le'olam, Omaya. Yisbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yispoar, v'yisromam, v'yisnaseh, v'yishadar, v'yisale, v'yitalal, shemei dekudashah, v'riku, le'ela minkol, v'perkasa, v'shirata, tushbechasa, v'nechemasa, damiran, v'alma, v'imru, Amen. Yehei shlema, rabba, min shamaya, V'chayim aleinu v'yalchol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'ramav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'yalchol Yisrael v'imru Amen.
The beginning of that prayer is actually all Aramaic, because that was the vernacular. The last line is a Hebrew prayer for peace, Oseh Shalom. We're actually going to call back David and Alan and Alicia and Melissa, who are going to lead us in the singing of Oseh Shalom to conclude our service.
I'm not very good at this.
It's okay. We thank you all for coming. Our service is now concluded, and you may visit with friends and family.
I did it, Rabbi Sean.
You did amazing.
Awesome. I did it, Sean.
Yeah, you too. Windy City. All right, so wonderful. It's really. Oh, maybe so. It's like I guess that's it. I love it. It cheers my day. And I share it with Bruce. Bruce is not on, my husband is not on Facebook. So I will often go, okay, look what I'm doing now. So it's very, very good. And I have to say, I just told Barbara, I was not, it was early in Bruce's life, they all were. And his friend, I've forgotten his first name, but anyway, lives in Columbus now, took photographs of Bruce Bowen. Oh, really? We've got 10 shots of, they're in the dining room, as with all of his photography. So with all of his things, they're sort of, when I met him, they were all in the closet, so we just gradually been pulling things out. They're wonderful, they're hysterical. And Bruce was a photographer, wasn't he? So did adventurous things that way. Yes. Yes. So I just told Barbara I'm going to have to look at those photos. And Bruce is your family. So there's more ties than, and I did not know it. Sorry, I didn't get those two men together.
my side, so she lives on the other side of the wall. I can hear her, but you can't hear her. No, the wall's pretty thick.
A lot of times it's like unless somebody was super, super noisy, you could. Running up and down the stairs. Now, how long have you lived there? How long were you on Eastover? 50? That's nice. That's real nice, you know? What is Debbie doing now? I mean, Susan, yeah. Okay, nice. Yes. That's truly a sacrifice. Steph and Alan, you know, no kids of their own, but they Barb's two and my one, and you know, holidays or whatever, they had the three of them. So. I didn't want to do anything.
We're doing it. I am going to be doing it in 24 hours. So we're going to go up to Syracuse and come back tomorrow. I will. You have a good holiday. I'm going to come back and do right?
Okay, I will. Great family too. I love you. Everything they say.
Hello. Just want to invite everyone who's here to come to my mom's house. If you don't know where that is, come up to me and I'll let you know. But not to stop anything now, just keep going. But if you would like to gather at my mom's house also, please feel free.